Ready? Hey! Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Lesley Vincent with Melton Truck Lines. Thank you guys for joining us today. We have Skylar Greek. She's one of my field recruiters here at Melton. Skylar does a lot in the field recruiting portion here at Melton Truck Lines. She goes to schools in Oklahoma, gives presentations. She does a lot of virtual webinars with our schools, and also we have a special guest today.
We do.
Who is our special guest?
Braxtin is here
Braxtin.
today.
All right, Braxtin.
One of our drivers, and we're going to talk a little bit first about his career and time here at Melton, and maybe answer some questions with us. And then, of course, if you guys have questions just about anything that we're talking about today, and then specifically if you have questions for Braxtin, feel free to put that in the comment section, and we will go over that here at the end.
Yeah.
I'm an open book.
Yes. We'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. That's good. We want to hear it. All honesty.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yes.
And so we're going to ask Braxtin some questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get done with that, we're also going to go through all of our benefits and pay and everything that we offer here at Melton, so you guys can hear about that stuff too.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
So, ready to start?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
good.
first question. So, what originally brought you to Melton, and what made you decide to come back as a rehire?
Alrighty, so what originally brought me was the reputation and how long you all have been an established company. And no matter what economic crisis was going on, you all were standing tall.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cut and dry. What brought me back, it was just appreciating the fact that, you all have structure here. There's a great culture. And it was just what the DMs do for us as drivers, they're the unsung heroes.
They really are.
Yeah.
They work so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very, very
yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for that. The next question, how does Melton compare to other trucking companies you've worked for?
So going back to what I said about what the DMs do for us, most companies don't. In my opinion, there's really no comparison. Hence the why I work here. But at the same time, there's a great culture here. Other trucking companies, there's not. There's just a lot of division, and it just seems like it's a tense environment here. It's friendly, laid back, and it's easy to work here. Do your job, no one complains.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
find that to be true too.
I agree.
Yep,
Totally,
same.
completely.
Mhm, mhm.
And how we mentioned, we've been around a long time, 71 years almost.
That's a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Melton has such a good reputation
Mhm.
because of the culture, because of what we talk the talk, walk the walk, talk the talk, whatever
Mhm.
that is, and we, really do stand by what we preach.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite thing about driving with Melton?
Oh, there's a lot. So I've made a lot of friends here.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually reach safety.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait a whole day for safety to say, oh, just throw a strap. But it's the equipment here too. I mean, we have nice trucks. I mean, especially those new Freightliners. They're starting to grow on me. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I can't complain.
So are
Yeah.
you in a Freightliner?
No, I'm in a Kenworth.
You're in a
Kenworth.
Kenworth?
I
Okay.
actually like my Kenworth.
Yeah.
I detail the crap out of it, so
Yeah.
it has to shine or I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Taking pride in your equipment and making sure it looks good out on the road.
And I think that's part of that culture piece
Mhm.
that you talk about, because we do offer our drivers to get, free truck washes every 21 days, and the equipment looks good. Our drivers are professional, and so that culture
Yeah.
piece is a big deal.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, if somebody's on the fence about coming back to Melton or joining Melton in the first place, what would you tell them?
I mean, just go ahead and just proceed, of coming back. As long as you didn't do anything gregarious, you're going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, you just come back. This is the perfect time to come back, to be honest. Freight
Yeah.
is up.
Freight is up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
join now, the water's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then if you're a new student or somebody that's never been here before, definitely come.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll train.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've got excellent training.
For
the
sure.
best.
The
Yeah.
best.
Is that all of our questions?
That is all of our
Okay,
questions.
well,
but that's
gosh.
okay. We'll maybe throw some more.
Yeah. And so I think the point of all this, and when we wanted to have Braxtin with us today, was to, showcase that sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's not. And I know that drivers have choices. Do your research. Look at carriers. Go to different either their websites or Glassdoor. is a really good resource to go and look at carriers to see what the drivers are speaking about, not, long-term employee Lesley and Skylar. We love Melton, obviously, but, it's these guys that will really tell you the truth on those comments with Glassdoor and stuff.
Yeah, and if you do want to talk to current or previous drivers, let us know. We'll hook you up. We have tons that would love to talk to you, tell you about Melton and what we could offer you.
And another thing I want to mention, too, about our rehires is Braxtin was gone for about 30 days, and so all those miles he accumulated with us, he was with us for almost a year before you left and came back, right?
I was 1 month away.
Right.
1 month away.
So those miles that he earned during his time here, he got to keep. So I don't know how many miles you had. Let's just make it easy and say it's 100,000 you had. So he would get to keep those miles, and the reason why that's important is because that plays into safety stuff, bonuses, pay, and all those things. So, if you leave and come back,
you're not starting over.
That's right. Now you will with benefits and such if it's over 30 days, but if it's less than 30 days, you get all those benefits
I
reinstated.
still have my 1 week vacation.
See?
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah. That's a really cool thing, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we can do for you.
Exactly.
All right.
Perfect.
So, Skylar's going to explain the hiring process.
Yes, a little bit about the application process. So if you're new coming onto Melton, the first step, of course, would be to fill out an application, which if you call into our recruiting team, we can send you a link. You could go through driver polls, however you want to send the application, and we can do that. We'll do an interview over the phone. It takes about 25-30 minutes. Once that's done and we run all your reports and everything, we send that over to the hiring board, and then we'll send it for approval. Typically takes about 48 hours for final approval, and then we'll just be able to set you up for an orientation date. And we do that every Monday. So you let us know what works best for you, and we can get you started.
Yeah, pre-hires are super important for those folks that are coming out of a school. So we can offer a pre-hire to you that doesn't obligate you to come drive for us, but it lets you know basically, other than you getting through orientation, we ran all your background checks, MVR, everything's pretty much done except for you shining.
You have a job here if you choose to take it.
Right.
Essentially.
Yes.
Is what it stands for.
Yeah, those pre-hires are good to do, and you can do them with every carrier, and it doesn't obligate you, so it's good to do. I like to talk a little bit about, the culture piece that you spoke very much about, and that's kind of some things I want to talk about, like Bob, who is our COO.
I call him our president.
Well, he's our president.
Now that we are employee owned.
Yes, and Bob is very familiar with our drivers because he gets with them, has like a little roundtable discussions a couple times a year. Bob went to truck driving school in Neosho, Missouri, at Crowder College. So he got his CDL. Then he went to work for a trucking company and got his feet wet there, and then ended up buying Melton. So he knows drivers, and he meets with our drivers to find out what we're doing right and what we're not doing right. A lot of our pay increases, TARP pay changes, speed of our truck was from those roundtable discussions. So that's really cool. Our driver managers get to know our drivers by their name, not a number. So we take a lot of pride in that. We want to know about you as a person and your family and what your likes and dislikes are. We have this word count, which is really nice because you can do anonymous surveys about all kinds of things here going on at Melton, and we take all that information and we act on that stuff. So it's
and
anonymous.
It is completely anonymous.
Yes.
Yep, and there's also Rate My Load also.
Rate My Load is really good. What is that?
So Rate My Load is actually in your regular Melton app. So you'll go in, you'll type your load number in. You could have the option of shipper, consignee, say the shipper or whatever, and then you just give it the 5-star ratings if you want to, or you can just say 1. Unfortunately, there's been a couple where I wanted to put 0 and I couldn't do it.
Right.
But, and you really just explain it, because if you don't explain it, then we're just going to be like, okay, why does he not like it?
Right. And then he's talking about a particular load, like say a lumber load. I'll just use that for example. And maybe I don't know, some things were wonky with it. You can give a survey about that load, and we act on that stuff too.
Yeah, if we get enough people that don't like this particular shipper or this particular thing that we haul, we may stop hauling it. You know.
Yeah.
We do want to keep our drivers happy, and we do want to keep them, busy out on the road. Maybe it takes too long to chart, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Actually, one of
that's
my favorite things about this company is that if the loads are always wonky, they'll look to not do business with that shipper
Yeah.
from safety reasons.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's right.
So-
Because what's number one in this company?
Safety.
Safety,
That's right.
for sure.
Yeah, speaking of, we have 24/7 safety.
Yeah.
So you were speaking earlier, if you have an issue, and this is during the day, 8 to 5, yeah, we're always here, but what happens at midnight? What happens
Yeah.
at 2 a.m. if I need help? Well, we have 24/7 safety. We have 24/7 dispatch. We have 24/7 shop. We have anything you're going to need at any time of the day, we're going to be here to help you
Yeah.
with.
Exactly.
You're not always alone.
That's
so
right. That's a good thing to, mention.
Yeah.
'Cause-
If you ever need help, feel free to call
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
Somebody's going to be here and answer that phone.
Yeah. The next thing we're going to talk about is equipment, because
Yes.
I think we will all sit here and three of us and agree that our equipment's probably the best in the industry. But go ahead, Skylar, tell
You
everybody
definitely
why.
have first-hand knowledge on equipment, but Kenworth T680s, Freightliners, and just a handful of Peterbilts is what we have on our fleet. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a blue truck if you do happen to see our trucks out on the road. There may be different colored trucks out there, orange, red, purple. Those drivers that have those different colored trucks, we call them our million milers, ambassadors of the road. They have at least 1 million miles with us, maybe 2 million, 3 million as well. So once they hit 1 million miles, they get to pick the truck color, the brand, plus a whole bunch of other perks too as well. So if you do happen to see, a different colored truck besides our regular blue, that's the reason why. But anybody that's new coming into Melton, you would get our standard Melton blue, and it's going to be that Kenworth T680 Peterbilt or Freightliner. They are all automatic, so keep that in mind. And they do go 68 as far as the govern. They have a bunch of cool things in them, so if you maybe happen to not get the brand that you particularly like, you're not going to be missing out. They all have 1800 watt inverters in them, double bunk beds, and fridges.
EPUs.
So, and EPUs and APUs, depending on the year of the truck as well, too. So, inverters, super important. You want to be able to cook when you're out on the road, or watch TV, or play Xbox or something when you're relaxing. After a long day of driving, that's what those inverters are for. So, do you cook a lot when you're out on the road?
No.
Well, you
answer.
can. You can
I
if
would
you
say,
want to.
I don't want to wash dishes.
That's true. That's true.
Even though I'm self-sufficient, I just don't want to do it.
That's
Do
true.
you have a coffee pot or anything on your
Nope.
No coffee pot.
TV?
TV?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, do you use the inverter at all?
Yeah, when I plug my vacuum in the
Oh, okay.
door.
There we go. So he's cleans his truck a lot. We were talking before this. We were talking about detailing and cleanliness and stuff. So yes, he does have his little vacuum that he cleans his truck with.
I also shine my truck up halfway to death, so
There you go. Some good old elbow grease.
That's right. So you'd be looking good going
Yeah.
down the road. I get it. That's right. And if you look good going down the road, the DOT doesn't mess with you as much, right?
True. Very, very true. And then we have fridges in there as well. So drinks. I'm assuming you have drinks in the fridge.
oh yeah, water.
Not alcohol drinks.
Yeah. Waters, Gatorade, Propel, all kinds of stuff you want in there.
Right.
And then double bunk beds. If you wanted to have a rider with you, anybody over 18 can ride anytime. Anybody over 10 can ride in the summer, unless they're homeschooled. If they're homeschooled and they want to ride year-round, that's fine. We just have to have some sort of paperwork showing that. And then rider policy typically brings up pet policy, so any dog or cat up to 90 pounds, and then no breed restrictions as far as the dog goes.
Do you have a pet?
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Do you want a pet?
I mean, I've thought about it,
Yeah.
but I like the guardian breed, so like Rods and Pit Bulls
Oh,
and
okay.
that kind
That's
of stuff.
fine. You take it. Long
No breed restrictions.
I can't stand them teacup dogs. I think
Yeah.
it's a masculinity thing. You know.
You just sit in your little lap though.
Yeah.
Lady,
Well, we do, I think here in a few weeks, we're going to have the ASPCA here. So if you want a dog.
Well, then Stephen Daly better flag me again.
Okay, we'll call him out.
Yeah, we'll bring
Yeah.
it back to Tulsa so you
Yeah.
can adopt a dog.
Yeah.
Or a cat.
Or a cat, that's true. Okay, well, one of our people in road training do have kittens, so if you do want a cat.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No.
I have a kitten hookup. Okay, so we also have easy passes and pike passes in all of our trucks. So for tolls, Don't have to pay for tolls. If you're in a state where Easy Pass and Bike Pass don't cover that, I think there's maybe like 6 or something.
It's very rare.
Very little. Pay for that, we'll pay you back, of course.
Yeah.
And then there is DriveWise in every one of our trucks too as well. So that's super important to make your life a whole lot easier, doesn't
And
it?
it even tells you if it's a DriveWise site or not. A lot of the time I get the bypass.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had one level 3 inspection in Wyoming and I passed.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
and
so-
you get paid extra for
Yeah,
that.
so tell them what you guys are talking about, just in case you don't know what DriveWise is. I mean, you kind of said it's pass, go ahead.
So DriveWise is the modern day pre-pass.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, pre-pass, you had this little black tablet that sat on the top of your dashboard. It would beep like slowly if it was a good one. If it was ready to go, dee 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 dee.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, really annoying. Now with the tablets, we can actually turn the volume down, which
Well, that's
thank
good.
God.
Yeah,
I hate loud noises.
Yeah.
It scares me to death.
yeah,
Pre-pass, it'll show like a green light on there, which is bypass. If it's red, it'll say pull in unless closed. Or you have the follow road signs.
Yeah.
yeah.
To a way station.
Right, so it really, the point, and another great, 2 things to mention on this, you can't have these in your tractor if your safety record's not good.
As a company.
As a carrier,
Yeah.
that's correct. So, I think if you're asking other carriers some good questions to ask, do you have an inverter?
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to be able to cook on
Yeah.
your truck or have a coffee pot.
We're going to get you a recipe book.
Yeah, because he really should be cooking on his truck. He should
Yeah.
be in those
Yeah.
restaurants
Well-
because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's not very healthy.
Funny enough, my girlfriend and I have had this conversation. Even with some of my other relatives have had this conversation. I'll sit there and talk about it, and then I just forget about it.
Yeah.
We'll get you with Brett, which
Yeah.
who we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
We'll get you a recipe
Yeah.
book.
So yeah, you can bypass that scale. It's going to save you time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time. It's going to save you not having to get inspected.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you cannot have this. A carrier can't have this in the truck if they have bad safety records. So
Yeah.
another thing to do some research on, you guys, is Safer Web's got this information. You can go and you can put in our DOT number or just put in Melton Truck Lines, and you can see like how safe we actually are.
Yeah.
So it gives you some good feedback there about a company.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's our starting pay?
Ooh, pay. Oh, this is
Mm-hmm.
my favorite thing to talk about. So, if you're coming straight out of a truck driving school, you would start at 52 cents a mile, and that is loaded and empty. And that is super, super important to note.
Yeah.
Because not every company is going to pay the same loaded and empty. So, for example, if you've got a 100-mile run and you're making 52 cents a mile, some companies will say, yeah, we're not going to pay you all that because you're empty. Well, we pay the same whether you're loaded or you're empty. And if we have to deadhead, which means you don't have freight, whatever if it's 100 miles or 1,000 miles, it doesn't matter. We're going to pay you the same, right? Okay.
Yes.
So that's really important to note and ask those companies, do you guys pay the same loaded and empty? So at 5 months or 6 months experience with Melton, you go to 53 cents, and then at a year, 58 cents a mile, and over 3 years, 60, and then our top pay is 65 cents a mile. And again, that's all loaded and empty.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So extra pay opportunities. We are a flatbed carrier, so don't be worried about that. Especially if you're in school, focus on learning how to drive. We'll teach you how to secure and tarp whenever you come here. Say you're an experienced driver and you've never done flatbed before. We will teach you that. That's how he started out. He was doing what, drive-in?
I was pulling doubles. For
Doubles.
FedEx.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So then we taught him how to secure and tarp, and then, now he's hitting the road. So we will make sure you are trained before you start and are on your own. But you do get paid an extra $100 to tarp your load. Now, when I first started at Melton, it was $40. And during those roundtables and surveys and everything, our drivers were like, hey, this is the hardest part of the job. We want to get paid more. So they were like, you know what? You're right. Let's do that. So 2 ways to think about tarp pays. You tarp what? How often do you tarp?
Sometimes it might be twice a week. Sometimes I may not even have to do it.
Yeah.
But the best part is that, yeah, we're actually the highest in the industry. Because some companies are still stuck back at $40.
Yeah.
So we actually do compensate you for what you have to do.
Yeah. So 2 times a week, that's $200, So if you think about, we've calculated it out yearly. There's a whole bunch of math that goes into it. It's actually an extra 6 cents a mile on top of your regular cents per mile, if you
Yeah.
want to think about it like that. And then extra pay opportunities. Do you have your hazmat?
I'm actually in the process of getting it here soon. Same with passport. I already have my TWIC card.
Your Twig?
Great.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, and it's all useful stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's a jump to the front of the line pass,
Yeah.
essentially.
Ooh, I like
100%.
that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And explain what you mean by that.
Okay, so let's say like we're in Pennsylvania. So we have a customer there called Carlisle.
Mhm.
Or even in Tooele, Utah. So we'll just use Carlisle. And you got 25 guys sitting in a state.
Waiting for a load.
Yeah, and you're the only one with a hazmat load. You're getting the load.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going
If
to
you
the front of
don't,
the
if you're at the front of the line, you don't have hazmat, you don't get that load.
I
Yeah.
mean,
This guy would if he's behind you. So to have your passport, if you can get it,
Yeah.
and your TWIC card, TWIC's going to help with ports,
Mhm.
and your hazmat, and that means
Yeah.
you're really going to be available for every kind of load that we have. They're not mandatory that you get those things, but
They are helpful.
yeah,
they're
yeah.
recommended.
Yeah.
Very recommended.
Yeah. Hazmat pays an extra 6 cents a mile for those loads. Canada, so passport, you need get an extra 6 cents a mile for that. And then oversized, overdimensional. Have you taken any oversized before?
Yep,
Okay, that pays an extra 16 cents a
they're
mile.
not that hard.
Yeah, they're
Money.
perfect. Yeah, they're not that hard. Straight from the horse's mouth. Not that hard. So if you wanted to get extra pay on that, that's an extra 16 cents a mile.
16.
And
Yeah.
read your permits, please.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Read your permits.
Yeah.
So, and then if you are a new grad right out of school, we do tuition reimbursement. So up to $10,000, $150 a month directly to you, tax free. I do not pay the school, I pay you. So I just need a receipt that shows your name, school name, and how much you paid, and then we will pay you back up to the $10,000. So
That's great.
yeah, very, very cool.
Excellent.
And then we do have a fuel bonus / safety bonus as well. Up to $6,000, you can get a year. It's paid out quarterly, so $1,500 a quarter. And it is a tiered bonus, so it's not all or nothing, and it does start over each quarter as well. You get a clean slate. So you definitely want to try to get that as well because it's, hey, extra pay in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
good
sure.
stuff.
We also have tax-free income as well, so 17 cents per mile of your cents per mile. So not 17 cents more, but 17 cents of the 52, 53 is tax-free. So how I like to describe it is you're not making more money, but you're bringing home more money because less money is taken out in taxes. And this is not anything that you have to pay back during tax season. This is just a perk of being a truck driver and working for Melton.
Yeah, right. That's
So.
the per diem.
Yes.
I have it.
Yeah.
Per diem.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Free money
So
essentially.
would you guess it's about an extra $200 a month?
Something like that.
Yeah.
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 A few $100
But
a
it will
month.
affect your taxes too. So, talk to an accountant to make sure that this is good for you. And you can opt out of it,
At
I
any
think.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What I've heard, and don't quote me on this, but because I am not a tax expert. Let's be
We're
real.
not.
My dad just stopped doing my taxes like last year. So, but what I've heard is the only
My mom still does
reason,
mine.
the only reason to not do it is say you're buying something large like a house because they base your loan on your taxable income.
Mhm.
But otherwise, why not?
Yeah. Why not? Absolutely.
So,
Yep, yep.
okay. But you didn't hear that from me.
No.
So, okay. Training.
Yeah.
So, that's
My piece.
you.
Okay, this is probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
It really is. We'll have you come to Tulsa. Tulsa, Oklahoma is where our pre-hire evaluation takes place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for 8 days here in Tulsa. Get you here on a Sunday, finish the following Monday. That's paid $800.
If you're a new grad,
That's right. And if you're an experienced driver,
$1,000.
$1,000. So we'll fly you here, rent a car, bus, whatever's the best way for you to get here to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We pay for your hotel, and it's not the Ritz-Carlton, but it's not a Motel 6 either. It's quiet, it's clean, it's comfortable. We pay for breakfast and have a hot meal at the hotel, and then we have lunch. We have a chef that makes your lunch, and it's
It's
a
amazing.
good lunch. Yeah, it is.
yeah, today is Taco Tuesday.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is Taco Tuesday.
best day of the week.
Mhm. Yeah, we've got a really nice cafeteria here too, by the way. Anyway, so lunch, breakfast, lunch, hotel, the orientation pay, and we'll get you here. So, what though are you going to be doing during that 8 days? Well, you can attest to this. you're going to do a lot of load securement training. So we haul, as Skylar mentioned, and Braxton did, we're 100% flatbed. So we want you to get proficient on flatbedding, right? If you're a student, you're going to go out with a trainer and you're going to get more experience with that. But during orientation, experienced or not, everybody's going to do all these different kind of mock loads that we've got set up, from steel to pipe to coils to lumber, a lot of different things that we haul. And in orientation, you're going to learn how to tarp and strap and you know, do what it takes to secure these loads. A lot of people think, well, God, how am I going to get that freight on the back of that trailer? How's that happen?
Forklift.
That's right. Or a crane, one of those two. So it's 100% no touch. You're not, you're going to tarp it, but you're not going to ever load it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest misconception.
A flatbed?
Yeah, because everyone says, well, you touch the freight. No.
Yeah.
You touch it when you throw a strap on it, but that's not it. It's just, it's the difference of the shipper loads it. You just stand there and look at them. That's about it.
Make sure they load it right. That's it.
That's right. So that's what you're going to be doing a lot of during that 8 days that you're in Tulsa. You'll have a road test. There'll be, you know, some homework logs and stuff. You want to make sure you know how to keep a log book because you'll have to do a daily log.
They will check.
Yes, they will. It's, you know, we're looking for professionalism and safety and all those things. So, you know, the 8 days is still an evaluation. You're evaluating us, we're still evaluating you, but everything goes well during that orientation, then you're good to go out with a trainer, or you're going to get your truck if you're experienced. I want to mention too, just a little bit about the loads that we haul. I told you lumber, steel, and stuff like that, but some specific things that you've hauled, I'm more curious about. Anything unusual?
So when it comes to like oddity loads or interesting ones, I've hauled machinery like the man lifts and boom lifts from JLG in Pennsylvania. Those are actually one of my favorite loads. I've even hauled John Deere and Caterpillar.
Yeah, fun. We haul a lot of those guys.
Layered steel. What else?
Did you haul? So we had a team that actually went to Canada. I don't think you were on this deal last summer that helped haul Ed Sheeran's freight, and everybody knows who that is, or maybe you don't. He's a pop musician. So we got to go with him. Some of our drivers did, not Braxton, right?
No.
And
are you
salty over this?
I am a heavy metal fan.
Oh, okay. So he's like, nah, it's fine. Now, if we hauled for Metallica, then he'd be like ready to go.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. So anyway, we haul some really cool stuff.
We do.
We hauled the stage for the Super Bowl several years ago. We have hauled stuff to the Raiders stadium in Vegas. He had to point out he's a Raiders fan, I'm a Chiefs fan. So anyway.
And I'm a Steelers fan, so we're just a whole group.
But we're all AFC.
Yeah.
Go
okay,
AFC.
we have common ground.
We do have common ground. All right.
Just don't talk to Eagles fans.
Just don't talk to Raiders fans either. Okay, anywho, that's it about our pre-hire evaluation. So it's a good time to learn a lot about Melton, and you'll get signed up for your benefits and all that stuff too.
And now, so then if you just graduated from school, then you would have to go out with a trainer. If you were an experienced driver, so somebody that has more than 5 months of experience, you'd hop on a truck, take your first load, be ready to go. So as somebody that's just graduated from school, 3 weeks with a trainer follows immediately from the pre-hire evaluation. Now, time with the trainer is valuable, very, very valuable. You make $700 a week during those 3 weeks, and time with the trainer is super important. So whether you come to Melton or not, ask companies how they do their training. So our trainers are awake when you're awake and asleep when you're asleep. You might think that that's common sense. You know, how am I supposed to be trained if somebody's sleeping? But a lot of companies will switch to team driving after day like 3 or 4. And then, you know, you have to wake somebody up to ask a question, and that's not helpful. I know I hate to be woken up for anything, so let alone to be grilled about questions. So I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. So we don't want to put you in that situation or our trainers in that situation. So we don't do that. You as a new driver are going to be in the driver's seat like 90% of the time. Our trainers are going to be in the passenger seat, and you're just going to be driving and hauling loads like as if you were solo, but you're not. And they're going to be there to help you. Now, all of our trainers have been with us for at least a year, so they have a clean safety record as well. No tickets, no accidents. And then they go through an additional training to become a trainer as well. So it's like about a week-long training. And then there's a personality preference type test that everyone takes. trainers and trainees, and we match everybody up as best as possible. It is not a random selection. We want to make sure everybody has a good experience, so that's why we put a lot of thought into who goes with who.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people come to Melton because of our training, because it is really, really good.
Yeah. And we are human, though. I mean, we do make mistakes. So if for some reason you and your trainer aren't vibing, let us know. We do have a whole team that's dedicated to helping out the trainers. So, we can help solve that problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah. And another great thing I think here at Melton that we offer is our benefits package. We offer dental, vision, life and health. All of that's first of the month after 60 days. We have a very, very nice 401k where we match 50% of the first 7% you put in. You're fully vested after 3 years. So it's very good. We also are employee owned, so we became an employee owned carrier last year. And it's an ESOP is what it is. And so we all get shares in the company, and it's based on our performance, and everybody's an owner. So you're an owner, I'm an owner, Skylar's an owner, Mackenzie over here, our marketing lady, we're all owners. So the better we all do, the more shares, stocks we're going to get. And it's just a really, really cool program.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Brett earlier. People might be like, who's Brett? Well, he's our personal trainer. So we have Brett on staff. He can help you with workout plans, meal prep, anything that you want to do when you're out on the truck. We do have, I said, hey, we're going to get you a recipe book. We have 2 volumes of a recipe book right now that Brett has worked out with some of our drivers that you can cook meals out on the road if you wanted to save money, eat a little bit healthier, everything like that. So that's up to you. We have a gym on site here at our Tulsa terminal.
It's huge.
It's a little over 3,000 square feet. Very nice. We just got new equipment, several new pieces of equipment like a month ago, something like that. So very cool. If you want to stop by, come as you are. We come dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. We don't care. And feel free to work out. Not a big deal. We do have a doctor on our site at our Tulsa terminal as well. That's free, no co-pays. You can walk out with medication. The medication is free, and that is for you and your family as well. Now, I'm not talking third cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody under the sun, but spouse, children, you yourself, of course, can use this doctor. Yeah. And then we do have an association with a dentist that's like a mile down the road from us. Cleanings are free, and everything else is done at a discounted rate.
Yeah, and if you get sick on the road, I don't know if you know about the teledoc. It's like if you weren't feeling well, and shoot, you live where in Florida?
I live all the way down on the border of Mexico.
Oh, okay. So you're down south, and you're like, and you're far, far away from home. Let's say you're in Wyoming or something, and you're like, shoot, I don't feel good. My throat hurts.
Yeah.
We got this teledoc you can call, and hey, here's my symptoms, and then they can prescribe something.
Yeah, call into like the local Walgreens, Walmart, whatever, and then you just go pick up your prescription.
Yeah.
So that's optional for you as well.
Yeah, and we have a very generous pet and rider policy. I mean, you kind of spoke about this a second ago. So you can take any breed of dog less than 90 pounds. You can take a cat if you wanted, not both, one or the other. You can only have one pet.
And only have one rider.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the same with the rider, and Skylar mentioned that anybody over 18 can go. You can take a 10-year-old with you in the summertime if you like, one of your kids.
Yeah.
So and your rider can go with you as soon as you get your own truck.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, and pet. So pet and rider can ride at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's no waiting period, like she said.
Right. So you just got to make sure you get the passes through safety.
Yeah, and it's like 2 pages.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal to fill it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, so military, super important. I'd say about 1/3 of our fleet are prior military at Melton. So we do have this VA apprenticeship program for people that have access to their GI Bill. It's through the Department of Labor and Veteran Affairs. And if you wanted to, you can use all 2 years of this program. You could use 6 months, but you can earn up to an extra $29,000 over this program.
Yeah.
So
and we are veteran ready. And what I mean by veteran ready is that we support our veterans. We have this really cool thing there. If we hire a veteran and he went to a specific school, then we can nominate this person to win a new Kenworth. And so all the carriers can do this. And we actually had a driver last year that was made top 3, and we got to go to DC. Our driver wasn't able to go, unfortunately, because he had to pull out because of a situation. But it was really neat. I went and to see a driver actually win this truck, brand new Kenworth. It was just spectacular. And again, this is just a veteran thing. We have veteran wrap trucks that we will give out to some of our veterans. We've got special decals and such for our veterans. So our veteran program is good.
Yeah,
Very
and then
good.
I always hear Steven, who's one of our military recruiters, talk about Task Force Overwatch, which I never mentioned, but I need to talk about it more. And it's basically about, people that are late to the military and then they're maybe struggling or they're alone and they just need some additional help. This job sometimes can be lonely, and we have help for our veterans in prior military that they can talk to other veterans. And they kind of have a buddy, essentially, like the buddy system. If you had a buddy system in the military, you have a buddy system here.
Yeah,
So,
that's really cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Yep. We mentioned the wrap trucks and yeah. All right. So our home time.
Yes,
Oh,
home time.
love
That is
this.
something really big. So I-35 is kind of our dividing line. Are you east or west of I-35?
I think.
Or are you kind of right in the middle?
Yeah, because I'm at the tip of Texas, so
Yeah.
technically I like go way east of 35.
Well, okay, cool. So, I-35 is for those of you that aren't sure, it's a highway that kind of runs up the middle of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, splits the country in half, essentially, and that's how we
Ends in
split up the
Minnesota.
country. Ends in Minnesota.
Oh,
Good to know.
yeah.
Didn't know that.
I didn't either.
So, that's how we split up the country. So, anywhere east of that line, if you're on our over-the-road route, our drivers are out for 2 weeks at a time and home for at least 2 days. If you're west of that line, our drivers are out for 3 weeks at a time and home for at least 3 days. So how our home time works, it's every 7 days you're out, you get a day of home time. Our home time, it never expires and rolls over if you don't use it. So you can bank up days, save them, use them at a later date if you want. If you had 20 days banked up and you wanted to take 20 days straight off, more power to you, those are your days. You're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah.
So completely up
And
to you.
Road
Yeah.
Warrior.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the Road Warrior program, do you take advantage of this?
Most definitely.
Okay. What it is,
It's a compensator, actually.
it is, and it's a really cool thing. So if the thing is, you have to stay out for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And it goes in increments of 3. So I'll give you a couple examples. So if Braxton stays out for 3 weeks at a time, he gets an extra day at home. So he can stay home for 4 days. Or he still gets the 3 days he earned because he was out for 3 weeks. Or instead of the extra day home, he can take money, and the cash is $200.
Yeah.
So he gets his time that he earned and $200. If he stays out for 6 weeks, remember I said increments of 3. Yeah, that's right. So you have 6 days you earn because you're out for 6 weeks, and you can take an extra 2 days, so you can have 8 days, but you won't get the money if you take the extra days. Or you can take the 6 days you earn, you forget about those 2 extra days, and you're taking $400. So it's
Correct.
increments of, it just doubles.
What do you prefer?
Like staying out wise?
Well, no, what do you take, money or home time?
I just take the money.
The money.
Did you stay out how long?
Between 4 and 8 weeks.
4 and 8 weeks, that's your typical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's really good, and that's your choice. You choose.
Yeah.
We don't say, hey, do this or that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just let your driver
And it is
manager,
an
right?
option. So because you technically live east, you could be home every 2 weeks, but, it's an option. You don't
That's
have
right.
to do that if you don't want to.
That's right.
I don't know if you know this, but 80% of our drivers choose the money. So
Mhm.
surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Everybody loves money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So.
And it's cool because we are incentivizing you to stay out longer. And believe me, I'll be very transparent here. I mean, the longer our drivers stay out,
The more money.
the more money they make and the more money we make.
Yeah.
Because if the wheels aren't turning,
No one's earning.
no one's
Yeah.
earning.
Yeah.
That's right. So that's kind of why we do that. I mean,
Mhm.
we're going to compensate you for that extra work you're putting in.
Well, also a way to look at it is that, like, when you're going home for that week, and heaven forbid, it was kind of an off week, that $200 could actually help even things out.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And miles, honestly, over the last couple of years, they haven't been that great. So that probably was a great way to take advantage of that to earn some extra cash.
Yeah.
But miles are picking up.
They are.
They are.
They are.
They for
I
sure are.
just was at a conference. We talked all about this. The other carriers I saw there, their
Mhm.
miles are picking up. Ours are picking up. So That doesn't mean I want you to go to another company. I'm just saying that miles are good.
Ours are
They're
picking up
starting to
more.
pick up. Yes, ours are picking up more.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
We do have other home time options depending on where you live, though, too, as well. So
yeah.
please call into recruiting, and we can take a look. So there's like a southern regional in Oklahoma and Texas. We have an east fleet as well. So please call us, and we can kind of discuss that based on you and where you live.
Yeah, and another cool thing about our home time is we let you take home time anywhere you want to take home time, except for some states that we'll mention here in just a second.
Yeah.
But, like, if I want to go to Vegas to see Kansas City,
Play the
beat the Raiders there in Vegas, I could say,
We're
hey,
going to start a fight.
can I have my home time in Kansas City or whatever? I mean, you can bounce back and forth. You can come here, you can go back home, you can go watch your team get destroyed by the Chiefs, whatever. you can do that, except for these seven states, which are, she knows them off the back
They're
of my head.
9,
Or
actually.
9, okay.
Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, North and South Dakota, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and Florida.
Yeah, good job. No,
Yeah.
and the reason why is what?
Due to our freight, there's not a lot of freight going to those states because, well, minus Florida, but there's not a lot of freight going to the other states because there's not a lot of people that live in those states.
Right.
If you live in those states, of course we can get you home. It's just I can't send extra people to those states.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of freight that we haul.
Even
like,
Florida?
Well, here's
Florida.
the Florida.
Yeah.
Florida's the exception. We haul into Florida, but there's a lot going in, but not a lot coming out of Florida.
So we try to
that's
save that for the folks that live there.
Yeah, so we don't want people to get stuck in Florida. That's the one exception.
Right.
We have a
Florida.
lot of Florida people
We
here.
do
We
have
hire
a
a
lot.
lot
Florida's
from
like one of the
Florida.
states that we
Almost
hire the
20%.
most.
Yeah. And if you live Tampa and north, if you're south of Tampa, unfortunately, we're not hiring from there right now. That's about the only place we're not hiring from.
Yeah.
Really, we hire from all 48 states. And we didn't mention that, but we do.
Yeah.
Except for the southern part of Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then we do, there's 2 times of the year, 2 months,
yeah.
you can't switch where you live, and that's November and December due to the holidays. So if you do go home during that time, you need to go home to your actual house, and that's November and December. And so we try to get as many people home for Thanksgiving, and then we 100% guarantee everyone home for Christmas if you want to be.
Yeah, she said guaranteed.
Guarantee. You don't hear the G word.
You
Guarantee a lot in
Yeah.
this industry.
Yeah.
But that's something we will do.
Guaranteed home for Christmas.
My
all
advice-
1,300 drivers.
So my advice, talk to your DM 2 weeks in advance. Or actually 3 in the holidays.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be home for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's honestly just communication,
Honestly.
planning. Just
Yeah.
tell them.
Yeah.
Just tell them.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. And then really just look at reviews. Lesley was saying earlier. Look at what people have to say. Talk to current or past drivers. Like I said, I can hook you up with anybody that you're interested in talking to, and we'd be happy to, tell you about that.
Yeah.
I don't think we really had a lot of questions as of right now, but if you do comment on this after the fact, Mackenzie will definitely be able to answer those after the fact.
Yeah, we have a rehire, or a gentleman that's on right now, Ron, that's mentioned it a couple times. He used to drive for us and stay out for, about, what'd you say, 18 days, and it worked out great. And then he lives in Florida as well, so.
Yeah, Florida's always been a difficult state,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but we were able to get him home. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
get
and
him
then
home
he
and
said,
home for
always got
Christmas.
him home for Christmas. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then she commented my number in the comments, so feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And if you want to move forward, just give us a call.
Yeah, for sure. Thank
All
you
right.
both.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you for
Braxton,
coming,
being with us
taking
today.
your time
This
to
is
help
great.
us out.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank
All
you
right,
guys so
everybody.
much.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.